non-aligned movement adopted a soft balancing strategy aimed at challenging the superpower excesses in a normative manner. Discuss. 250 words. 1. The non-aligned movement adopted a soft balancing strategy aimed at challenging the superpower excesses in a normative manner. Discuss. 250 words. Non-alignment movement. NOM is the intergovernmental organization consisting of 120-plus member nations funding in 1961 with sole motive of non-alignment with any of two superpowers, USA and Russia post-WW II and during Cold War era. India is one of founding fathers of this contribution of NOM party to soft balancing strategy to challenge superpower excesses. 1. Look after interest of third world countries developing underdeveloped G77 group of 77 protected sovereignty of young democracies against superpowers hegemony. 2. Activism at UN and other forums such as 18 Nation Committee on Disarmament as well as through resolution. 3. Naming and shaming policies were their operational tool for ending colonialism in Asia and Africa during 1950s and 1960s, making lobbying to adopt ending colonialism as mission ahead. 5. Crucial in carving out partial nuclear test ban treaty and non-proliferation agreement. 6. Transfer and permanent seat of UNSC to China to balance Western countries' vested interest. In rapidly changing global scenario, many countries like India is moving from non-alignment to multi-alignment as world is slowly moving from bipolar to multipolar. Emerging superpowers like China, India, ASEAN countries, etc. Non-alignment served its purpose in history back then but now needs to be rebooted against new challenges the world faces. Terrorism, climate changes, global warming, trade protectionism, etc. The world is divided on the basis of socio-economic and political status called global north-south divide. The global north includes the richest superpowers of the world and the global south includes most of the developing nations. Generally, the global north countries take it as their responsibility to maintain a political balance in the world and try to expand their hegemony all over the world. This is even more legitimist when the southern developing nations take their sides and start conflicting among themselves. NOM and Bantu Afro-Asian meet in early 1950s were a soft balancing strategy opted by newly formed developing nations of India, Egypt, Yugoslavia, Ghana, Indonesia. Their strategy was to reject the hierarchical status of the world and vocally express their disagreements with the powerful countries and their hegemony. They helped in eradicating colonialism from Africa in 1960s. Many of the superpowers were racing for nuclear power development which could have led to Third World War. NM's initiative worked for the 1963 Partial Test Ban Treaty and nuclear non-proliferation. They also created some nuclear-free zones. The situation in the world is currently the rising where China and US are fighting for expanding their hegemony over the world and they want to take as many as developing nations on their side. It is being done by investing and engaging in bilateral relationships to meet their own hegemonic agendas. NOM and Bantu Afro-Asian meet is nothing but an example for current developing nations to adopt an alternative strategy rather than bowing under the hegemony of developed nations and accepting their support. Some African and ASEAN nations have managed to avoid a Chinese debt trap by engaging in economic partnerships with India and Japan. The hegemonic countries must be left alone to fight their own mindless battles, and more meaningful relationships should be formed among the developing nations. This will delegitimize the race for power, in turn acting as a soft balance. Developing nations must know their power, which can be utilized only after coming together. They can also establish a new South-South world order with their own set of democratic values, human rights, financial and legal institutions, poverty alleviation and food security programs, so that they don't have to go to North to settle disputes always.